Hello, and welcome back to plantcare.club, where we care about your plants. My name is Fred. On this show, we do three things. Number one, we talk about your plants, indoor, outdoor, whatever you have. Number two, we'll do product reviews for different items that are coming to the market. And number three, we answer your questions. So if you have any questions, go to plantcare.club. You can ask them there. On today's show, I'm going to try to do something kind of up to date with what's going on right now, and that would be we're kind of through the garden center season. So, what's next? Let's say something's dead in your garden. Let's say something happened to it, you don't like it, or you want to add some more plants here and there. Should you be looking for bargains? That's the topic. That's what we want to talk about. Should you be going to the stores and looking for bargains? Part of the reason that I thought of this is because yesterday I was looking at some local garden centers and chain stores, and I saw some really crazy discounts on some plants already. As it's the first week of June, which makes sense. The timing is basically there for the discounts to really be out there. But we're going to start to see these prices go down over the next whole month at least, especially for the annuals. So, should you be going out looking for bargains? And if you are, what should you be looking for? Okay, first off, if you decide to go, you want to look for new growth in the center of your plants. So let me look this up. So when I say that you're looking for new growth, you want to look at the new leaves that are forming in the at the heart of the plant. I have a geranium here if you are watching online because they're one of the easiest ones to spot. So what you'd be watching for is new leaves forming right about here where my cursor is, where all you have the older leaves, which are usually on the bottom, and then as you work up to the center, to the middle of the plant, you'll see these baby tiny little leaves. If those leaves are growing properly, they're actually coming out, it doesn't look like there's any kind of defects or odd things happening with them, then that plant is good to go. And yeah, sure, you could still buy it. If you see anything wrong with that, the answer is no, don't buy it. It's too far gone. If you start to see some crinkled leaves, you're gonna start to see that on some of the softer varieties. Let's say like a New Guinea or a New Guinea impatient, or some usually in Mandevilla, you'll see these kind of issues on the new growth if there are any bugs present. So the reason that you're looking for that new growth is it's going to tell you the health of the plant. If when you take it home, is it actually going to continue growing and thriving? Or is this already past the point where it's doing well and now it's on the decline? It's got some kind of an issue with it, and you don't want to do that. Even for a bargain, you don't want to bring home a project. We already have a lot of our own projects as is. So, step one, check for that new growth. Now, with other items like Boston ferns, I saw some on a discount rack the other day too. And with a Boston, the middle of the plant looked a little bit more yucky. But when I look at the edge of the pot, the roots had reached the edge, had come up the side of the pot, and actually started to sprout new growth on the sides of the pot. So at that point, yeah, you know what? That plant, it's going to take a while for it to look really nice again. But if you do want to give it a shot on a $9.99 hanging basket, Boston fern hanging basket, give her, because that plant could still survive and it could do pretty well. Okay, what's up next? What do you want to look for? Now, this is going to be applicable to different regions of, let's say, North America right now. In the northern region, you're going to want to look for frost damage. So I know up here in Canada, we saw some frost a few weeks ago. Overnight, it was just a very light touch, but it was enough to show issues in some of these plants. If these plants are on the discount rack and they're on there for a crazy good price, there's probably a reason for it, and it really could just be frost damage. You want to look at the end of the leaves, the edges of the leaves there, and see if they're burnt. If they are, that plant could have just been shocked so badly that it's on a slow decline to death. And even if you bring it back home and you try to treat it really well, there's a chance that maybe you can get it out of that cycle, but it's probably on a one-way trajectory right to the garbage bin. So If you see some kind of browning on the outside of the leaves, I would say, oh, stay away from that. That's not a good idea. The next one would be sun damage. So this is probably applicable to places that are a little bit further south, or if the wrong variety of plants is left in the sun. So this is less applicable to a garden center because they usually know what they're doing with different varieties, where to put them, how to treat them. But for something like a chain store, they might be taking some shade plants and putting them in the sun because the person that was in charge that day doesn't know as much about plants, or they work in produce and now they came over and now they're helping out with the flower side of things. Totally understandable, lots of different reasons. But at this time of year, you're going to start to see some of that. As the sun's coming out, it's getting more intense. Any of these shade plants that are put in direct sunlight, they're going to start to burn. They'll get like a weird dark color on their leaves, or like almost a red color. Especially I've seen that in some geranium varieties. And it's the plant going into shock. I would say steer clear of this. It's another project that you probably don't want to have to deal with. The last thing is bugs. Last thing on my list here is bugs. So I already gave you a tip about what to do with the new growth. You want to also look for let's say spider mites. If you're going to look underneath the leaves and see if there's kind of a waxy coating, it almost looks like powder, like sort of like a powdered donut, where it's got like that little bits of white dust all over it. That would be an example of, oh, okay, yeah, these probably have mites on them. The flowers on some varieties, when they do have spider mites, the flower won't develop properly. It'll come out, it'll open up, but it looks like it has rounded edges, like a Mickey Mouse ear. And that can sometimes indicate to you that there are thrip or spider mites or aphids or something like that on the plant, not allowing it to develop properly. So I would take a good look at any kind of bugs. The last thing you want to do is bring a plant home that has some bugs in it, and now all of a sudden you've got to treat everything else, especially if you brought it into your house. But if you left it outside, okay, maybe you have to treat everything else in your garden. Maybe you have to, try to take care of all of that. It's a headache. It's a pain. You probably don't want to deal with it. Now, the one positive note that I will say about bugs is when a lot of these plants are in the greenhouse, they are way more susceptible to bugs because it's the perfect bug environment. You're covered over by the poly of the greenhouse. They're not going to get directly rained on. They have moderate temperatures all the time. It's a clean environment, and they don't have all of their predators in there. When they get outside, now all of a sudden these bugs, like a spider mite or a thrip or anything else, they have to compete with everything else that is out there. Their predators are out there, and they might move on to another plant. They might just say, you know what, this isn't the best one for me. I'm going to go to that tomato field right over there. Or they might be eaten. Maybe they don't like the sunlight. Maybe they get rained on. Spider mites really dislike overhead water. So maybe that's how they can be negatively affected. If you do have a plant that has some bugs on it, I wouldn't freak out right away. Give it a little bit of time in your garden to see if nature can kind of take care of that for you instead of having to take it out, isolate it, or apply some kind of chemical or whatever else you need to do. Okay, my last tip on this is to be picky and you don't have to rush. So as I mentioned, you're probably going to see some deals throughout the rest of June, maybe into early July. On houseplants, you might see the same kind of thing. Like I've heard of some crazy deals happening for Kimberly Queen ferns and Boston ferns, if you're looking for houseplants, Majesty palms, and then all the way through all annuals, everything else there. If you are a late gardener, if you were a little bit behind, this spring was cold relative to other years. So if you are a late gardener, then this might be the year for you where you can save a few bucks and do things in early to mid-June. So you don't have to rush. You don't have to get things right away. You can watch for good deals and pick them up as we get through the month. Okay, that's all that I have for today. Thanks for listening. And once again, if you have any questions, go to plantcare.club and ask them there. Thanks. Talk to you again soon.